Hey all, Glenn Kirschner here. Please enjoy this video on the Political Voices Network.
Good morning, Steph.
What? Good morning, sir.
What does that mean?
I don't know what I meant by that. He was using a medicine ball in the
Right?
workout video.
Okay.
It's dreamy. Anyway, hi, good morning, sir.
Good morning. Good morning.
So we were obviously playing Senator Whitehouse talking about, and I know other legal experts, I'm sure including you, have talked about that this filing by, or the discovery by Jack Smith shows confidence, it seems, right? That he turned over more than he even had to. Tell us why legally.
Yeah, so legally, you don't ordinarily give all grand jury transcripts, only grand jury transcripts of the witnesses you intend to call at trial. Jack gave them all. Ordinarily, you don't give grand jury transcripts until much closer in time to the trial. Jack Smith gave them all over early, which prompted Donald Trump to blow a gasket.
Yeah.
We all saw it in his 82-word, all caps, I can't even call it an unhinged rant, but it started with Congress, please investigate, and it ended with stop them now. It's an express ask that Congress intervene and obstruct justice. But I'll tell you, Steph, all of those witnesses who testified in the grand jury, a lot of them were Donald Trump's lawyers, employees, staff members, cabinet members, executive branch officials, perhaps even family members. And when they were down at Mar-a-Lago, they were telling Donald Trump, oh, you the man, witch hunt, you did nothing wrong. And then when they went in the grand jury, they said, let me tell you about him moving around the boxes and hiding the classified documents. By the way, he showed me some really cool documents. Donald Trump has all that evidence now, which made his head explode because he knows that on the merits of the case, he's dead and stinking.
Yeah, but isn't part of, it works to the prosecution's favor that he's so delusional? This at Bedminster last night, Trump says some of the best lawyers and law firms in the country contacted him offering their help, but he told them he didn't need it. I mean, we were talking about that apparently some of the tapes, Trump handed over the tapes of these TV interviews because why? He thought they exonerated him when they clearly are incriminating?
Yeah, he's an idiot and he has no tactical sense. Right. He thinks anything he says in, the public square on these faux news networks and on his third-rate social media platform somehow is admissible in court. It's not. So listen, being stupid doesn't mean you can't be forced to go to trial. He's competent to go to trial, though he's not competent at much else in his life. He has no insanity defense. I know because I've litigated both competency issues and insanity cases. Yeah. He's going to trial and he's going to go down in flames. There's no two ways about it. I think the only hurdle we have to overcome is making sure we select a fair and impartial jury.
Well, that's obviously the other big story I wanted to talk to you about is that, I want to just get your take on Judge Cannon's moves so far. I mean, obviously people are like, she set a rocket docket August 14th thing, but what you're referring to is when Judge Cannon assumed control of the case, she set the stage for the trial to be held with a regional jury pool comprised mostly of counties that Trump won handily in his two previous campaigns. She signaled the trial would take place in the federal courthouse where she normally sits in Fort Pierce. That's mostly ruby red counties where Trump won by wide margins. One expert, though, just want to get your take, suggests the Cannon's order allowing flexibility could be a signal of a change down the road. He said, I'm not convinced this case is going to go in Fort Pierce, predicting a move to West Palm Beach. Can you explain what all that means to us and how concerned should we be?
I think the case is where it is. I think it's wishful thinking that it's going to be moved to a more blue location. The only way it would move, in my experience, is if the United States Marshals, the U.S. Marshals, have complete control over security when it comes to trials. I know because I had RICO trials where the Marshals told us you can only try 6 defendants at a time. You can't try 7. And they were the last word on security measures. So if they said, listen, Judge, we need to move this to another location for security reasons. But the thing is, Steph, I think the original jury pool would still be selected where the case was brought, not where the case was moved to. So you know what? All of that will sort itself out. I happen to believe, and people are going to yell at me for being naive or Pollyanna, we can and we will select a fair and impartial jury.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, boy, he's going to have, well, he'll whine anyway. He always
Yes, he will. That's a given.
But yeah, I mean, we knew this going into this, that this was going to be a more favorable, venue for him. I wanted to get your tweet. You said, "Will Trump's documents crimes at Bedminster be the next federal indictment brought by Jack Smith, and why did the FBI not obtain a search warrant for Bedminster?" Because that's another move, is to also try this part of the case, the dissemination in Jersey, correct? Your home state.
Steph, this one, I am a Jersey guy. You can take the guy out of Jersey. I am absolutely convinced that Donald Trump will be indicted in New Jersey. Here's why. In the Florida indictment that was unsealed, Jack Smith disclosed to us Donald Trump's espionage crimes in New Jersey, showing classified documents to folks while he was at Bedminster. That is in violation of our nation's federal espionage laws, but it's not yet charged because the venue, the place where it is most appropriately indicted, is in New Jersey. Jack Smith would not have told us about those crimes being committed in New Jersey if he didn't intend to indict them in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So we will see, I think, a rolling series of federal indictments that hopefully will culminate with an insurrection indictment.
That's giving me a rolling series of
Oh, stop it.
Stephanie?
revelations legally. Yes. Well, I think it's a good point. It's a fair point that he's done so much criming that we shouldn't worry about the Florida venue, because eventually he'll get a jury everywhere.
Right.
D.C., New Jersey, New York. You said anything that incriminates him is admissible evidence if prosecutors try to introduce it at trial. Talking about Trump's TV interviews. And you just said, take heart, friends. The road to accountability has been bumpy, but once Donald Trump's federal trial in Florida commences, here's why federal rules of evidence will result in Trump being convicted in a Miami minute. You seem, even for you, quite confident, Glenn.
Really confident, because I fought the hearsay battle 1,000 times in court, and it boiled down to its essence. Any statement Donald Trump makes that the prosecutors believe is incriminating, the prosecution gets to introduce it as evidence. Anything Donald Trump said outside of court, a hearsay statement that is helpful to Donald Trump, exonerating, right? I declassified everything. The Presidential Records Act said I got to take everything with me. Those statements are not admissible because a defendant can't introduce his own out-of-court statements in court because they constitute hearsay. When the prosecution does it, they're called statements of a party opponent, which is an exception to the hearsay rule. So the only way Donald Trump will get all his BS in front of the jury about declassifying stuff with his mind and the Presidential Records Act is if he takes the stand and testifies. And we all know he can't. Heck, we saw the E. Jean Carroll deposition. Trump cannot testify. So
Brett Baer's not even a lawyer.
Yeah.
When the rules of evidence are in place, not the court of public opinion, but a court of law, Donald Trump is done. He's done. And that's why I say he will be convicted in a Miami minute.
Yeah, and you also said Republican witnesses like Barr, Esper, Bolton, and others will sink Donald Trump at trial. Talk to us about the August 14th date. What's likely to happen next? I mean, that's likely to move, right?
Yeah, listen, we beat up on Judge Cannon a lot. Let's give her props where they're due. She set a very speedy trial date. However, that is simply in keeping with the federal law that says you have to take somebody to trial within 70 days of the day they were arraigned. August 14th is within the 70-day window. Will that trial date hold? I don't think so. The defense will come in and say, humana, we need more time. We can't be ready to go to trial. I also expect Jack Smith's team to walk in, say, we've already given most of the discovery. Judge, the prosecution will be ready on August 14th, which means all the delay will be put on Donald Trump. But I do think this is a signal that Judge Cannon intends to try to get this thing to trial quickly. And I'm not going to say it's because she wants to tank it quickly. I'm not going to buy into that cynicism, even though she has already shown herself to be kind of a bit of an open question, let's say. But I think you're probably going to see the case tried somewhere late 2023, maybe January 2024, which still puts it well in advance of the November 2024 election.
That'd be amazing. Talk to us about the protective order. You talked about the protective order in the Trump case requiring adult supervision for Trump to even look at documents and evidence, prohibiting him from posting, disclosing anything, and threatening contempt if he violates the court order. Well, of course, if history's any guide, he will. What happens then?
Well, in theory, what happens when a defendant violates a court order, There is an order issued by the court called a show cause order, where a defendant is hauled into court and made to show cause why he shouldn't be held in contempt. Contempt can involve fines. It can involve ratcheting up the conditions of release.
Yeah.
And ultimately, it can involve putting him in jail if he shows himself unwilling or unable to abide by these protective orders. So, what will Judge Cannon do when he violates her protective order? I don't know, but I suspect she's not going to want to continue to seem so partial and so biased that she's just going to let it all go. I think she's going to impose some sort of penalties.
Yeah. Let's talk about J6, about the next indictment, maybe up the pike here. You said DOJ delayed for more than a year opening a criminal investigation into Trump and his criminal associates for J6 insurrection. What are the consequences of this inexcusable delay, and might there be a silver lining? Oh, I like the silver linings playbook. Give it to me.
Yeah.
Here's the silver lining part, and it pained me. It was gut wrenching when I read Carol Lenig's excellent reporting about how DOJ basically dithered for more than a year. And I don't think it was nefarious. I think they were wringing their hands and doing the legal navel gazing and analysis paralysis stuff.
I said on the air.
That's what the federal government does.
I said on the air, the people I trust the most, you and Adam Schiff, were right. Were, pretty vocal about how impatient you were, and you were correct. But sorry, go ahead, sir.
Yeah.
Just giving you your props.
Here's the silver lining part. So Donald Trump decided that the best way to stay out of prison, the best way to avoid being held accountable for his crimes, was to announce that he was again the candidate for the presidency. What did that result in? That made Merrick Garland have to appoint a special counsel, because now Merrick Garland's boss, Joe Biden, is the opponent of Donald Trump. So Garland's like, so I can't be going after Trump, my boss's opponent. I have to appoint a special counsel. That's what got us Jack Smith. Steph, if we didn't have Jack Smith, I think DOJ might still be dithering, unwilling to move forward because of the kind of bureaucratic incompetence that runs rampant through our federal government. Now we have Jack Smith. Now we have indictments. We're going to get more indictments. So, of course, it was a tactical mistake by Donald Trump announcing that he was again running for president.
Well, I think one of the things that infuriated me the most is, part of the caution they said in the article about the DOJ was because of what James Comey did. I'm like, oh, great, so we get screwed twice, both times that would benefit Trump, right? Going easy on him and, screwing Hillary Clinton's chances 11 days before the election. You also the Hunter thing, you said a Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in Delaware investigated Hunter Biden for years. The case has now been resolved with Hunter Biden pleading guilty to 2 misdemeanor charges for filing his taxes late. And, the gun charge that most prosecutors, of course, have said if his name wasn't Biden, this would never even have been prosecuted. Can you talk about that a minute?
Yeah, I saw so many minor federal crimes that the Department of Justice didn't bother with. Sometimes we would say, what, that also violated state law, so the state court prosecutors can handle it. But when it comes to people who don't file their taxes or don't file their taxes on time or engage in some tax shenanigans, the IRS contacts them, says, file your taxes, pay some penalties, pay some interest, pay some fines, and we're going to call it a day. If his last name wasn't Biden, I don't think he would have been prosecuted for any of that. But even more, but here's the thing. If he violated the law, I'm fine with him being prosecuted. I just think we need an equal application of the law, and we need to prosecute everybody who's in a similar class or category. But here's the other thing that's most important. Joe Biden, God bless him, as a president and a father, he said, I'm going to leave the Trump-appointed U.S. attorney in place to investigate my son, recognizing the downside of that. I mean, that is one stand-up guy. I'm sorry. And the fact that it was a Trump appointee who made this prosecutorial decision about Hunter Biden tells us everything about the reliability of it.
Yep. And by the way, I don't know what you make of this latest thing. IRS whistleblowers revealed to the GOP Ways and Means Committee that there was a text message where Hunter Biden demanded payment from a Chinese business partner and mentioned his father's name. It's just, oh my God, they just are not ever going to give up on this, are they?
No, this is more GOP assistance by Jim Jordan and company trying to cover up Donald Trump's crimes, distract from them, protect Donald Trump. I mean, we all see how these GOP hearings are playing out. You know, the GOP is made to look foolish, and guys like Schiff and Swalwell and Congressman Lieu are just tearing these people up because there's no there.
I read your tweet yesterday because I saw the same thing. You said the Republicans called for this hearing. You said it looks more like a hearing called by the Democrats to thoroughly expose and discredit the absurd, wasteful, corrosive, Bar Durham orchestrated let's investigate the investigators nonsense, all to cover and protect for a criminal president. I mean, it really was. And you had Republicans beating up on him, too. I mean, I don't even know what the...
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm about ready to call for more GOP-led committee hearings because these are beautiful.
Hi, everybody. Juliana Forlano here for the Political Voices Network. We hope you're enjoying Political Voices and all the content we provide on the daily. Now, there are a few new programs in the wings that are going to launch just in time for election season. If you're able and would like to help us continue bringing you all this content, please help support us by clicking the join button. We're going to have some perks for members, including early video release. You get the information first. Members only chat rooms, live shows, member badges, all the good stuff and more, all coming soon. So click that join button if you can to support us. And rest assured, we will continue to bring you all the great content you have known from the Political Voices Network and more. Thanks so much. See you soon.